Do you ever get introduced to someone at a lunch meeting or a networking event, and before the conversation is over, you forget the person's name? If the answer is yes, you're not alone. The average person remembers between 25% and 50% of what he or she hears, according to most studies. That means that when you talk to your boss, colleagues, or customers, they are likely to retain less than half of the conversation. Listening is perhaps the most critical element in language learning, for it is the key to speaking and beyond that, reading and writing. I'm going to discuss critical and supportive listening. There are vital skills which greatly enhance our understanding and overall abilities in life. According to the Journal of Social Psychology, those statistics were taken from. Critical listening, this is from Adler, the book we are learning. The critical listening is to judge the quality of a message in order to decide whether to accept or reject it, also called evaluative listening. Critical listening involves evaluating an idea to test its merit. There are several steps that we can take to become a better critical listener. We need to listen to what the speaker is saying before evaluating it, not to judge a speaker's ideas before we completely understand them, because most of the time, but some of the time we are interpreting opposite of what the speaker is trying to send out to us. So paraphrasing is a good example of what we can do to clarify what the speaker is trying to say or mean. Evaluative speaker. Another critical element is to evaluate the speaker's credibility. Is the information coming from a reliable source, or is it not? Such as our instructor, for example. She has definitely, the information she provides to us is very good, credible source. She has a degree in communication and educational degree, so that would be a good, example of a good credibility. For a bad credibility, it could be someone that, has no goals or is unemployed, due to not wanting a job or just, to that extent. It's very important to examine the speaker's evidence. The speakers usually offer some kind of support to back up their statements. Is the evidence recent enough? How is the evidence presented? And is there enough of the evidence? Is the evidence from a reliable source? Can the evidence be interpreted in more than one way? Examine emotional appeals. A lot of the time we get persuaded by people, due to our personality. If we're a very emotional, caring person, we're easily persuaded. And I think we've all met people in our lives that do take advantage of others and definitely, use this as to their advantage. Now, gender and social support also play a role, so take that into consideration. Now, informative. I'm going to discuss informative versus critically. We just discussed critically. Informatively which is supportive listening. The goal is to build a relationship or help a speaker solve a problem. This is an approach to use when others seek help for personal dilemmas, such as a problem they're having on their own. Excuse me. There's several steps we need to take into consideration. Gender and social support. Women seem to be more supportive, or not supportive, but emotional, caring about, other people's emotions. versus men are more just, you know. Anyways, there are several men that are very emotional. So informational speaking or listening is more, worrying about helping the speaker solve a problem. Um, in my personal career as a nurse, these listening skills are very important. Critically listening is important for the patient's well-being. If something is wrong, such as someone with a blood sugar, they're presenting themselves sweating, clammy, you know, just what they are speaking to me. And then informational listening in my role as a nurse is very important also because I'm not only providing care, but I am a advocate. I am an emotional support for them. I provide emotional support, and then teaching and different resources to help them get through whatever they're dealing with. So critical listening and versus supportive listening, they both are very important in our everyday lives, jobs, relationships, and acquaintances with people. So we need to always remember that they're important and we can always better ourselves. Listening is definitely a skill that we can learn.